Hello, hello, welcome back to the channel, or welcome if this is your first time. Today we are going to be taking a look at my check-in for HRCYED, both 2.0 and 1.0, which if you are new here, we are doing 1.0 during 2.0 time frame because I didn't know about 1.0 when it originally came out. The goal is to have both 1.0 and 2.0 done, fingers crossed, before we get to the 3.0 start date, which will be in the summer. So I've got a little bit of time to play with, but I do need to really get working if I'm going to get all of it completed in time. So let's go ahead and jump right in. I also apologize for missing Tuesday of last week's upload. It has been crazy around here. Just generally, it's been gray. So let's jump into it. I went ahead and hid a whole bunch of the slides we're not using for 2.0 just because it would take forever to go through ones we're already done with. And I only actually completed 1% of 2.0 last month, which was a new release or in the last 4 weeks because we're doing mid-month updates for HRCYED. But since mid-month of last month to mid-month of this month, I completed the series Staircase, so there was one left there, and then I also did one more on the new release. So both of those are done, but it was only 2 books, which brings us up to 98%, almost 99, so close, but not quite. So, series Staircase, I finished Black Tide, which is the last book in the Outcast novel series, and I enjoyed it, but I didn't think that it was my favorite of that series. I gave it a 3.0, or 3 stars, because not 3.0. Give it 3 stars, which means that I liked it. I might read it again, and I might recommend it, but it would probably depend on everything that's going on and the person's likes and dislikes, and there's a lot of maybes in there. But the rest of the series I gave 4, which is that I would definitely consider rereading it and I would definitely recommend it. I think that the reason the third one wasn't as highly rated by me, it didn't really grab me as much as the other ones did. I was able to put it down for, days at a time, weeks at a time, whereas the other ones, I had to get to the end of it. And I don't know if it's because of the fact that it was the end, and I am notorious for hating the end of things. And then maybe that played a part in it, but at the same time, I don't know. I just felt like it wasn't as gripping as the other two. But I did enjoy it. I had a good time. I liked it. There's more information in other ones about like the triggers and etc. for the whole series, so I'm not going to get into that all again, but 3 stars, and we finished up the series Staircase. All right, new releases. That was the other one I said, the second book. I just finished this one in the last week, and it was The Wild Card by Stephanie Archer. It got an average rating for me, which is 3 stars, and I liked it. I did. I like hockey romances. I think they're fun, but the character development wasn't necessarily where I would want it to be in order to move it into that 4-star level, in my opinion. But honestly, that's how a lot of romance books tend to fall in my ratings, is that 3-star, maybe 4 on the occasion. So you can say accomplice to the villain, which is technically romance, but I would say it's more fantasy romance. And then also I'd read another book this month that falls into that 4-star romance category for me. But most of my romance reads tend to be a 3-star, generally. But I did enjoy it. I had a lot of fun. And I will probably read more in this series because I did not realize that this was not the first book in the series. So I will need to actually, yeah, I will have to go back and find more by this author. All right, secret prompt. I don't know if we count this one. It doesn't necessarily count on the percentages. It doesn't count on the percentages on the first bingo board, but it is something I try to complete every month if possible. And so for February, the book requirement was the color on Joseph's coat. So it had to be related to one of the colors. And I ended up choosing red. It is a fairly short fairy tale retelling by Liesl Shirtliff. I did also rate this one as a 4. It's middle grade, I believe, and I enjoyed it, but I don't know that I'm going to go and read the rest of the series. Generally, middle grade is that kind of weird space for me where I really like YA, I really like adult books. Middle grade, it has to really be a really good book for me to get above a 3 and to want to continue a series in middle grade. They don't tend to be my fave. But it was cute. It did fit with the folklore folklore February sort of theme we've got going on several of the book selections, because this is February and I am participating in Folklore February. So I was able to pull several things for my ABC for folklore from this book to put onto that chart, which was fun. I enjoyed it. It was a quick read, about 5 hours on audiobook, and yeah, it was a good time. All right, now we get to 1.0, because that has a lot more going on than 2.0 did in the last 4 weeks. So, bingo board for 1.0. We finished 15% this month, bringing us up to 37%, which is just over that 1/3 of the way. And since we have about 6 months total to complete all of them, 2 months being 1/3 puts us at where I'd like to be, because right now we're pretty much putting things, almost every book is fitting somewhere, not every single one, but a good chunk of them are fitting into a section, because even if I had already picked out a book, if I read something else, I'm usually able to find somewhere that it can fit. Doesn't always work out, but a lot. Which means later it'll be harder. We'll have to be picking out things specifically for items. Am I still doing some that are literally only because they're on HRCYED? Yes. I read a book for SPIFFO non-finalist, as an example, that was only on my list of TBR because it was pulled for this prompt before the year started. And I probably wouldn't have read it otherwise. But I enjoyed it, and I'll probably read the next one. So yeah, some of them are getting pulled in because of like spins on the wheel for specific prompts. But by and large, a lot of them are fitting in generally. All that to be said is it's easier now than it will be in 2 more months. So I'd rather be further ahead now. Lots of chit-chatting. Why? Okay, my it's not working, so we're just going to come over here and do it this way. All right, I have not yet done the 500 pages in one. Ooh, whoops, sorry about that. 500 pages in one day yet. I know it has been on my spinner twice now. I don't know if I'll finish it by the end of February. It has been a very difficult month, like with my job and everything else. And I just haven't had the mental space to get into some of my longer reads. And this one is over 500 pages. And I read several 500-page books, but not in one day, because I need like the amount of time free to do that, which is usually on Saturday, Sunday, which is the only day I'm able to catch up on things going on in my household and chores and things right now. So it's been a little bit cray. The goal is to get this completed. It may end up moving into March. We will see. Fingers crossed that I can finish it this month, or another 500+ page book. Like, for example, if I read Game of Thrones, which is on the list because it's my husband's pick, and I finish that in one day, then that would fit here instead of White Witch, Black Curse, though I do want to read this one. So we will see. All right, alphabet challenge. It's going pretty good, actually, on this one. I finished 5, 6, 8 this month so far in the last 4 weeks. And that is, again, because they just fit in. I'm happy to make sure that obviously they don't fit anywhere else on the challenge. They can only fit here. They're not fitting into, I'm not using them for the author, and I'm not using them for literary escapes, because both of those are in Dollycast, and I'm using the same alphabet challenge here as I am for Dollycast. So there are some that could have fit in here to fill it a little bit more over the last 4 weeks, but they are being used on either the author or literary escapes. So if I wasn't able to pull them in here, or they were on another HRCYED page. So have to check all of those things because juggling challenges is a bit of a juggle. But I think that we're making pretty good progress so far, and I am pleased with it. I am doing titles for this particular alphabet challenge. I know we were able to choose either author or title, but I decided to go for title for this particular one. Almost everything was 3s and 4 stars. So Castle in the Air was a 3-star. I read it because it was on my Studio Ghibli list, and I did enjoy it, though I haven't actually watched the movie yet because I thought that I had already watched the movie, but I hadn't because the story did not match the movie that I watched. So maybe I watched the wrong one. I was trying to sort of watch and be able to compare like I did with the Studio Ghibli one I did last month. So I'll have to go and watch that one again, figure out what I did wrong. But I did enjoy it. I thought it was fun. Yeah, we'll leave it there. There's a lot I probably could say about that one just because I thought it was interesting how it was laid out, but like some of the plot devices I didn't love, you know. And then of course it is a lower grade level than I would normally pick up. I would say this one is high school age-ish, because technically they're talking about marrying and all of that stuff, and it is connected to Howl's Moving Castle, and that some of the characters are in both towards the very, very end. Like they talk about Howl a couple of places throughout. So I do think that it's probably going to be a YA one, but a lot of the stuff that's in it, I just didn't think it fell as much into the YA category. Anyway, whole different thing. I don't have time for that one today, but if you want more about it, let me know. And then I read 3 of the In Death novels. They are usually getting a 4. I actually read, I think, 5 in the last month, but only 3 of them made it onto the alphabet challenge. They're typically going as a 4 for me. Loyalty and Death got a 3 because I felt like some of the character stuff was just not where I wanted it to be, not what I was expecting of this series in general. But again, you can't have every book in a series blow you away usually, and sometimes you'll have ones where the plot takes more of the storyline. You don't get as much character development. I really enjoy some of the character development, especially with Eve and both her partner for work and her partner in life, but like how she is changing generally and growing as a person and opening up to those around her and creating her tribe, and not even necessarily realizing that's what she's doing, but still doing it. And I'm watching how everybody starts to act differently and react with her, and the bonds and loyalty that she brings and that she gives in return, and how all of that interplays. I'm really enjoying that. I think her romantic relationship and how he is reacting to things in real time, to major changes in her life and how they're dealing with those things together, is also something I'm really enjoying seeing. I don't know if it'll be able to continue at the speed of growth that we've seen in the first 11. I think I'm up to book 11 now. First 11 books throughout the entire series, because there's like over 50 of them. So that, I mean, like, how far can she grow that quickly? She'll have to have some stops. And I feel like those ones are probably going to be the ones that end up on the 3 stars, where the plot takes more precedence than the character. But I am liking the procedural part of it and the crime solving and things along those lines. So it's still fun, but I am very much enjoying the character arcs at the moment. So moving on, Miss Dalloway, I just did not love it, and I think that maybe if I read it again, it might go a little higher, but I don't see this one ever getting above a 3 for me. I didn't love it at all. I had to sort of force myself to get through the last of it, and I'm glad to check it off my list, but at the same time, it's not one that I'm going to go back to again. It's just not my cup of tea. Nurse's Secret was a historical, this is a historical mystery, I guess you could say, with a romantic subplot, and I did enjoy it. I finished it a lot quicker than I thought I was going to, because normally I'm not a big historical fiction fan, and so I'll put it down multiple times and then pick them back up and eventually end up thinking that I'd like them. They get to be 3 or 4 stars, but it just takes me longer. They're not something that I gravitate towards. But again, this one, I liked it. It was a 3, almost a 4 star. Very much enjoyed it. It just got a little slow at times, and I think the reason I liked it as much as I did was the like internal angst that the character goes through at times, and how she is sort of dealing with her old life intersecting with her sort of new life. And I really enjoyed the character, and I didn't love the option she was given at the end for how to like continue on into the future. But I think that it was fitting for probably the time period and for what all went on in the story. I just didn't like it. But I don't think I was supposed to like it. Then I got another hockey romance, Offside, and it was cute. I enjoyed it. It was longer than I thought it needed to be, though. I thought it could have been shortened by maybe like a minimum of 50 pages, probably like 100 in reality, because this one was a long one for the amount of plot and even character development that was going on. There just wasn't. There was more than was needed. We could have definitely cut some out. So that's why this one was a 3. But I had a lot of fun with it. Enjoyed it. Happy this couple worked it out. But again, they're college age. And most of the hockey romances are college or just out of college. But yeah, I'm not always a fan of college romances. I guess as I get older, I prefer a little more maturity in the romantic characters in books. But I enjoyed it. I would say it's a fun read if you like hockey romances that take place in an academic setting. A lot of school-related angst and people at school-related angst. I think some of it should have and could have been cut, like I said, in order to make for a better storyline, all in all, in a more fast-paced story. But that's what I like. So not everybody's going to completely agree. And then the last one was This Trauma is Sponsored, which was a 3 star for me. It is a high school aged protagonist who is part of a family vlog channel, and she doesn't necessarily want to be part of a family vlog channel. And the trauma and the problems and the lack of privacy are very important topics that we talk about, especially with the prominence of family vlog channels. And so I definitely suggest this one as being a read, especially if that's the kind of content that you personally enjoy. Knowing some of the things that could be going on behind the scenes would be an ideal thing to look at. But also just the getting into the mind of this teenager and what all was going on, and the parentification and forcing her to be an adult from a young age. I won't say it's shocking or eye-opening because this is something that I've looked into in the past, but it was a good thing to remember and to make sure I'm aware of if I am choosing to, imbibe in any kind of that kind of content. It's not my vibe, so it's not something I typically watch, but it is important to note. All right, next up, Kadoki? Blurbs on books. So I read Uprooted. I know we talked about it already before. I really enjoyed it. 4 stars. I still have 3 to read. The next one I'll probably read will likely be Black Sun, just because that one is the most one I'm looking forward to the most of them. But the other 2 are still on my list for other reasons. They fit elsewhere in. So I will get to them probably in the next couple of months as they're available from my library. Garage sale books. I have not picked up any of these yet. I could go to another garage sale, or I was actually utilizing Facebook Marketplace to pick up books and to look at what's available. And there have been quite a bit in my in the neighborhoods near me, so I could probably pick something else up if I don't want to get to these. Specifically, I'm not sure if I want to read Wildfire right now, or if that's something like I want to wait until the fall, or just like when I'm really vibing with that particular contemporary romance. I've been reading a lot of contemporary romance with Romanceopoly, and I'm sort of getting contemporary romanced out, and I want to get back into the paranormal romance and fantasy romance categories on my romance reads, and all of these, well, with the exception of the Elite, which is YA, and I mean, it's not really contemporary, but it's not fantasy either. I guess it is technically fantasy, it's just not magic-y fantasy. It's more dystopian, I guess, is where you put that one in. Anyway, the other two that are on here, Wretched and Wildfire, are both contemporary. The Wretched is a dark romance. So I don't know if that's the vibe I still am feeling. I may go check out another couple of books somewhere else at some point. But right now I haven't really been feeling picking these ones up, so I haven't gotten to it yet. AuthorTuber books. So I haven't gotten to these ones yet just because I haven't had room in my TBR, but so far they're still ones that I really do want to pick up, so I will likely get to them hopefully soonish. Okay, so my 4+ book series, I ended up choosing, what is the name of this one? It's not Dark Fae, Reckless Boys of the Zodiac, I think that's what it's called, by Peckham and Valenti, and I did finish Dark Fae. I gave it a 3-star, and I started Savage Fae. I'm not done with it yet, but I am making progress towards the goal of finishing this one up in probably the next month or two. Since they are ebooks, they do take me longer to get through than an audiobook, because an audiobook I can play while I'm driving, or I can play while I'm doing chores, etc. Can't really do that with an ebook because you actually have to like sit down and read it. Same as if I were reading a paperback, or I guess technically hardback as well. Though I find that those take me even longer than ebooks. I don't know why though. They just tend to. All right, small booktubers. I read Summer Romance, and I am in the middle of reading Legendborn. Mood reader, so I am reading multiple books at any given time. So Savage Fae and Legendborn. I think I have 2 others that I'm also reading right now, depending on what I'm feeling for the moment. But yeah, I'm going to be done before February ends with 2 on this one, but as of my check-in, I finished just 1. Still need to find Shield of Sparrows, and I haven't decided if I'm going to wait to read Golden Sun till a little bit later, because I do want to reread the first book in the series, as I've mentioned before I jump into Golden Sun. All right. Other countries, I finished up Appointment with Death, which is another Agatha Christie book. So you'll see 3 of these other countries are Agatha Christie books, because I am making my way through Agatha Christie books at the same time as a bunch of other challenges, though this challenge is not one that I am prioritizing or really doing much other than if something fits in, I'll grab it. I imagine it's going to take me several years to get through all of the Agatha Christie mysteries, which I believe is one of the 52 books challenges that is outside of like their annual ones. They had mentioned that there would be others, and I haven't seen anything other than the 52 book annual and minis and related ones there, like the summer and the winter and the holiday, those type of things that are all sort of built into that ecosystem. But maybe that will come along at some point. Either way, there's a lot of Agatha Christie mysteries. So I have done, I believe, 4 so far this year. I would like to get another probably 2 or 3 done sometime this year, just so that I'm continuing to move the ball forward. But if I can get at least 1 in a month, all the better. So I have 1 more to do here. which right now I'm thinking about reading Ball Lightning by Lou, and that's because I read another book by this author earlier. I want to say towards the end of last year, and I enjoyed it. So hopefully I'll like this one too. We'll see. I haven't gotten it from the library yet though, so I haven't gotten to read it. And it also hasn't made my TBR because my TBR has been very packed in the last couple of months. All right, so I know that I have books that are on here, and these are books that if I don't find anything else as I am reading organically that I will go and pick up, or if I spin the wheel, I already have one like kind of chosen and I'm able to be like, ooh, okay, what are these, is available, etc. I don't have to spend as much time digging, but I was able to put Voyage of the Damned on here that was by Pan, specifically it was by, and that one was not necessarily planned as being the one I chose for that. So if something else comes up, I will be popping them in. But I finished 2 this month. Lesbian for A Pirate's Life for Tea. There are 2 lesbian couples in this one. One is the romance plot that's built in, and then the other one is the main couple from the series as a whole that is also in the picture amongst all the other shenanigans that are happening within this book. And so you have 2 different lesbian couples that are in here, which it was a really, really cute book. I was chatting about this one for several days after I finished it with other people, and I've mentioned the series in general several times since then to other people. So I definitely am suggesting it out in the real world. And saying, hey, pick up this series. You'll find it adorable. The first one was really good. The second one, I don't think I liked quite as much as the first one, but I am looking forward to picking up the third one. So it's not like it's stopping me anyway. I'm still enjoying it. I just don't think that I liked it quite as much because I felt like I was juggling 2 couples amongst the plot as well and how those relationships are going. And so I didn't get as much getting to know the couples as I necessarily would have or did in the first one, which I enjoy. That's part of the thing I enjoy about these types of books, but that's okay. I enjoyed it. Had fun. Haven't done any lowest rated books. These are the books that were at the beginning of the year lowest rated on my Goodreads TBR, which I am working my way away from Goodreads. I am trying out a whole bunch of platforms at the moment to see what I like. Should I keep them all? Should I just have a couple? I'm not sure. But my Goodreads TBR is so old and has so many random things on it. I do need to go through it and clean it up. But these are the ones that are on there from who knows when. The last decade. And they are lowest rated. So these are what I'm going to plan on getting to. Haven't done an indie author direct buy yet, so that one's still blank. Same for local author from a bookstore. Spell Your Name, though, I did add 4 books for this month, and I don't believe any of them were the original planned option. So that was interesting. I finished Book Lovers, which was a 4-star romance for me. I very much enjoyed this one. I think I enjoyed the characters, like how they actually like thought internally and how they interacted together, and I really enjoyed the characters. No one's surprised at this point that I look at the characters a lot, especially in romances, and how they react and how I am reacting to them. And I feel like I really vibed with the male character in this one, which is not usually where I'm at. I'm usually on the other side, and I'm like, oh, I'm really vibing with this female character. But I think that I personally had a lot more in common with the male character in this book, and that was something that I enjoyed exploring and be like, oh, I bet that's why he's thinking that. Oh, that is why he's thinking that. This is cool. Okay, how would I react in the situation? Is he going to react that way? Maybe I'm strange, but I had fun. Not My Romeo was the Romanceopoly study session for February, and I didn't have anywhere else it could fit in HRCYED, and I didn't want to use it for Alphabet. So we ended up putting it here in Spell Your Name and subbing out what was on the N originally. It was a 3-star read. was not my favorite romance, but I enjoyed it. Same for His Alone. This one I liked less than Not My Romeo, mostly because I felt like the female character was not particularly mature. She was rather young, and the kind of overprotectiveness that was actually kind of stalker-y wasn't the vibe that I would have liked. And I didn't like how things like were slow, 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 speed through the end on some of the plot stuff that was going on towards the end, because they wanted to focus more on the romance and just sort of let other things go. And I would have liked a better balance between plot and romance. Like, I am all for smut in books, not a problem, but I don't feel like this balance was particularly well done. I still liked it, still had a good time, so I gave it a 3, but it was barely a 3 for me. Holiday in Death, another one of the in death books, and yeah, I enjoyed this one. 4 stars. All right, Spiffbo, non-finalists. I already talked about Moonbitten on another one, so I won't get into it too much, but I do plan on picking up the next one when it fits into my reading time. I have so many series going on right now and challenges that may not be for a little while, but I did put it on my series as one that I do want to continue in the future. I thought it was fun. Interesting way to enter an academy. And I'm curious to see how the second book will go with the ending and how the people within the school are going to react and treat her differently and what's going to happen because of the ending of this one. So I did enjoy it. It was a 3-star. I didn't think that it had enough, like, it didn't have enough in it to get to a 4 for me, but I did enjoy it, so I will pick up the next one. I did not yet do a webcomic from start to finish, or I haven't actually read any webcomics this year. It's been on my list, and I have just not gotten to it. New releases, I read Caught Up. I gave it a 3-star. I am still really enjoying Nevessa Allen's books generally. I probably will read the next one when it comes out this year. But yeah, I went with 3 stars instead of 4, which I thought it was going to be a 4-star when I started reading it. It ended up being a high 3-star. But had fun. Very much enjoyed it. I thought it was interesting, the characters and how they... So the main character is essentially an OnlyFans content creator, not OnlyFans. It doesn't talk about that. It has a different platform that they talk about. But the things that she's dealing with socially and how that's really interacting with her life and the people in her life. And she's also a part owner at a kink club and all of that. And then he has just been in love with her from afar for a decade. And so all of that makes sense, and all of the interactions they have and how that works together was good. I liked that she knew more about kink than he did, and he didn't try to get all up in there and act like he did. He went with a curious spirit, which I thought was good. I thought that was a good portrayal of how that should play out. They were going to learn to interact together in that way. But I don't understand, which is why it didn't get a 4 on here, some of her background. Because right from the start, they say the reason they can't be together is because both of their dads were completely against them being together. So I assumed that her dad was super in control over everything in her life and everything was going to go crazy. And then she just basically walks away from that life altogether without 2 cents. Nothing happens. She just is friends with her grandma, and that's the only person she's really interacting with from her family in reality. And I'm okay, well, what happened to that overprotective dad? Yeah, he's gone. By the time we actually see him in the story, he's not in the story, but how did that happen? How are we at this point that both of their dads were against it, and now we've only got to deal with one of the dads. Like, where is that disconnect? I would have liked some more background on that and how she broke away from the family and how that all went down, and why when that broke down, he didn't try to get with her and like deal with his dad and fix that part then. Why did it have to go for 10 years when she's obviously been doing solo and working in this career that he would not have been okay with her, he being her dad? Like, I felt like there was some stuff that I would have liked more background information on to better understand the characters and better understand how we got to this point. But once we're here and we've gotten to this point and everything going forwards is going forwards, I'm good with that. I just felt like I would have liked some more meat from her background. Since we got so much from him, we didn't get nearly enough from her, in my opinion. So, next up, wait a second. I feel like I was going to be picking up 2 of these in the next month or so, but none of them are on my TBR for February. This is an FYI. All right, Queen of the Damned is on my TBR for February. I have not gotten to it yet, though. It's been a bit crazy, like I've said a couple times, but I do plan on trying to finish it. I only have about a little under 2 weeks, so we will see, because it is a chonka, as well as like 3 other chunky books that I'm planning on getting through this month, amongst all of the other less chunky ones. So we will see. I don't anticipate getting through all of the books that I set myself out for this month. It's just, I went off on a tangent and then my life went crazy, and it'll be fine. If we have to read some more books next month, it's okay. I love reading, so we'll be fine. 24-hour readathon finished last time. Same for Rest Printed Book. So we get to genre, and I finished 2 genres for this month. The first one was fantasy, which was We Who Will Die, and that is incorrect. That should be a 3-star. I accidentally marked that as a 4. Apologies. It was a high 3-star, so maybe that's what I was thinking when I was fixing it on here, but I'll fix it after, so it'll be fixed for next time. So 3 stars, and the only reason I think it didn't really necessarily get to a 4-star for me is because of originality. There wasn't a lot of originality going on in here. There were some things that were interesting, and there's like a subplot that's going to, I think, get becoming more important in the next book, just based on how things are ramping up with like the old gods and things like that. And I think that's going to be really interesting, which is definitely why I want to jump into the next one. But a lot of the stuff we've seen in the first book itself, I've seen elsewhere. I've seen it before. I'll leave it at that. It's new. It's new out, so I don't want to get to it in spoiler for y'all. But I do think that it is going. I'm going to like the second one. The second one probably better, because I feel like we're going to get some more original storyline pieces in the next one. There's still going to be quite a few tropes just based on what they've set up so far, but I want some new original information, specifically on their magic system and things like that. And I think I'm going to get that in the second one. Okay. Secrets and Snowflakes, Weary Dragon Inn, book 3. I think I read 3 and 4 in the last month. I did enjoy this one. This is almost closed door mystery kind of situation, but also cozy fantasy. But it's not closed door because like they're just snowed in and people can still walk around like the town and stuff, but things are happening while everyone is snowed in, and what's going on and how is this all going to roll, and people can't leave, which means we got to figure out what's going on. Anyway, I enjoyed it. I really like the Weary Dragon Inn series. It's nice. They're fairly short reads, but they are cozy fantasy with usually a mystery component. All of them so far have been mystery, fantasy mystery specifically, and I am enjoying them. I will probably finish them, the series out in the next couple of months, and then be sad because there aren't any more for a while. I hope they're not done because I would like to see more come. I'll have to look that up. But yes, I do recommend that series. I think that it is fun and enjoyable. Lovely. Crowdfunded, I know we discussed potentially switching this one out and doing another crowdfunded, something that is going on right now, or that I can actually participate in crowdfunding, but I have not been able to get into doing some of that research as such, but I do appreciate the comments about that. So appreciate it. If you have suggestions, let me know. Because I'm not going to get to it this month, but I may be able to get to it in the next like 2-ish months. Rainbow Challenge. I don't really believe I didn't mark these. I should have probably marked it if I did it, but I don't think I did either of these in the last 4 weeks, though I have read another Janet Ivanovich since then, but it was a yellow, so I couldn't put it yellow. And I didn't have anywhere else to put it, so it's not here on the HRCYED update. But this is another one that I'm working my way through slowly but surely as time allows, is the Stephanie Plum series. It's kind of a comfort read at this point. I enjoy them. They're fun. They're not something that I have to think a lot about, which is great when I am overwhelmed. It gives me something specifically to listen to, like when I am winding down, getting ready for bed. And so this one comes up as more of a comfort series for me at the moment. All right, classic and adaptation we finished last month. And then, so yeah, guess I read 3 Stephanie Plum books in the last 4 weeks. Sizzling 16 is another one, and I chose that one because Stephanie. I do know several Stephanies, actually. I may end up switching out Jay and Jane for other names. If I have other books that come up that I can't fit anywhere else, I may choose this page to move it around to fit them in, just because I do want to try to get this knocked out before the summer is over. And then every season, I was able to fit another of the Weary Dragon Inn series in here for winter. Beasts and Baking, which was also a cute one. With, well, I can't, no, that'll give it away. But yeah, there's another little mystery going on, and we're trying to figure out like how this magic is going a little haywire and what's going on and who's doing it, and you know, why are the soldiers here? Are there soldiers here? What's going on? Last time the soldiers were here, things happened badly, and that's fun. I enjoyed it. Cozy mystery again. And we've already talked about offside, so I need to fix that because it shouldn't be here and there. So we'll be removing it probably from here, and I will leave this back open for a fall. So I'm glad I caught that before we got to the end, because then I'd be really sad because I can't use it 2 books at the same spot. I just realized it. And that is the last of the update for HRCYED. We're at 42 minutes, so hopefully that wasn't too much time. Let me know if there are any books that maybe would fit in really well for any of the ones that I sort of transparented out, because those are just sort of ideas, placeholders in case I spin the wheel. I'm able to grab them quickly, but they aren't set in stone. So if you have ideas, ones that you're like, this is amazing, please do give those in the comments, and I will be removing the fall for offsides because it shouldn't be there because I already used it on the ABC. So I will need a fall book. If you guys have one that you think is amazing, let me know. All right, I will see you guys next time. Bye!